Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Noah. I'm your host, and this is the Big Bad Anime Channel. Coming to you live and direct from sunny Los Angeles. It's my pleasure to be here, you guys. And today we are doing Face Off Day 3. We're doing two different faces. We're doing kind of this lower, angry, growly face where it looks like she's about to jump up and attack whoever's above her. And as you can see, we've already built out the structure of the head and the face with that circle/oval and the kind of cone or triangle that comes down and make up the rest of the face. And I'm on another layer, actually, at this point, building a more robust sketch. I go up a little bit in my opacity, probably to about 20, maybe even 30%. And I go down a little bit in my darkness on the brightness scale. We're a little bit past mid-tone gray. I think we're a little bit into the darker grays. And I'm trying to draw out something that I saw in the initial sketch. In this, it's kind of a vibrancy of emotion or a certain kind of look and feel to the character. And as you build that up, you can go darker and more opaque in your opacity. So I think at this point when we're in this would be the full-on ink pass. And I'm up to either 90 or 100%. And it's not a full 100% black, but it's probably 85, you know. I think a full-on all the way noir black, you know, full down to the bottom left part of that slider can rob the rest of your image of its true color. It's like too dark. It draws the eye away from everything else. So feel free to try it, see if it works for you. Don't let me tell you how to do your thing. But if you took a majority of the masterpieces where they use a dark line and you use the color picker and you picked right on that dark line that you thought was a black line, I would almost guarantee you that it's another color that they substitute out, either a really dark green or a purple or some other color, a brown or a red, that stood in that place of black for that image. And it just harmonizes with the rest of the colors a little better, in my opinion. And at this stage in the process, I'm just laying down the local flat colors. So these would be the flat colors, no shadow, no highlight, just the local color that we want. And I am working in separate layers here for the time being. Once I get everything as I like it and everything in its proper place, I will flatten all those local flat colors into one layer. Keep it an original of all the older separate layers, of course. We don't destructively edit anything over here at the Big Bad Anime Channel. So everything has got a kind of like a workaround or a remedy. We make sure to set ourselves up for success so we can be a little reckless in our process, try a bunch of things. But if it doesn't work out, we can always go back to the original and give it another run. That is the beauty of this process. Now you can see I'm actually working in another set of lines underneath those black lines, and I call these the underlines. This is kind of a bit of an underpainting, and it's a way to be subtle in certain areas. There are certain places that you don't need to separate so harshly like a black hard line does. And I think using these kind of underlines, these kind of reddish, basically a darker version of whatever you're painting on top. So if it's the blue eye that we're painting right now, we get a little bit darker blue to be that underline. And this gives us some different gears that we can work within in terms of subtlety, in terms of boldness. It just gives you a couple different directions. I think for the different parts of the face, there's a lot of subtlety involved. And now that we have all of our colors flattened down to one layer, we can copy and paste that onto another layer and create the shadows right on top of it. And then I put a mask on this and turn the mask to all black so I can paint in the shadows on that mask. So you gotta think of it in terms of white and black. White being 100% white will make the mask disappear, which allows the image to show through. In this case would be our shadow layer. So wherever you paint in the white is where you're gonna see it. And then conversely, if you switch over to the black, that's essentially gonna be your eraser. That takes away any of the shadow layer, or at least it makes it so you can't see it. And the reason I like painting with masks, especially with this kind of more simplified anime style, is it's very forgiving and it's very quick to fix any mistakes. It allows you to paint freely without having to worry about going beyond the lines, because there really is no color beyond the lines. So you're just painting in the shape itself. And that keeps things easier in terms of cleanup, saves you some time there. If you're on a production schedule, that can be invaluable. Those few minutes that you save, that could be your ass. Because you never know how complicated the production schedule is gonna get. You don't know if things are gonna change on a dime or they decide to pivot. You just don't know. And so every moment, if you're on a timer, if you're on a production schedule, saving those few minutes here and there at every turn, they really add up, and they'll give you another hour or another few minutes that you may really need. I speak this from experience. This is not a hypothetical. This has happened to me many times, and only because I set myself up for success was I able to meet the deadline and not get fired. Now we are painting in my favorite part, which is the shine. This is a little bit different than the highlight. Sometimes I jump a step and decide to go right to the shine. The shine is a very concentrated reflection of light that comes off of the eyes and sometimes a little bit off of the nose, the little ball of the nose, and a little bit off of the cheek, off of the lip, if the lips are kind of glossy or moist. You'll learn there are different places on the face that kind of reflect light, depending on what the angle of the light is and the intensity of the light. There are some general areas that usually catch light for the highlight. Kind of the ball of the cheek, same with the tip of the nose, lips. There's usually a bit of reflectivity in the eyes. These are just things to keep in mind and pay attention to when you're drawing studies. All right, now we are on to the second face, and you can see I'm drawing my guidelines. I draw a line down the middle of the face. I draw a line for the eyes. One is kind of a placeholder for the nose and the lips, and then I kind of figure out where the ears are gonna go. This is our flirty face, where she's kind of winking at the camera. So you want to kind of have softer features. There's something about the smile where, usually just when drawing the mouth in general, it's best to have most of the lines implied. I draw, if it's a smile or something where the mouth is closed, I draw a little bit in the corner of the mouth, and then I draw a little bit of a line right in the middle, and then underneath the bottom lip, and a tiny bit over the top lip. And I find it looks a lot better than if you just draw a straight smile and have the line continue from one edge of the mouth to the other. Funny thing about when flesh presses together, like when the top lip and bottom lip press together, like when you're smiling, is there are places where in this case, the two lips actually press together and kind of get rid of the line. You don't notice the line except for in certain places. So just pay attention to little things like that. I find that level of subtlety helps sell the character and looks a little less deliberate and a little more natural. But mileage may vary. Do your own assessment, figure out what works for you. This is just kind of a little tip and a trick that I like. There are plenty of places on the face. The nose is another great example of how you can use implied lines to sell the idea of what you're trying to get across, like the nose or a smile or something like that, without having to implicitly draw out the entire thing, which gets to look, over-rendered, or just a little, it just doesn't look very natural. And you'll notice we are painting in all our flats. Same process as always. I do paint in some blush in the cheeks and on the nose, and then I usually use a Gaussian blur for that. And then I paint in a little more kind of rosy color for the lips. Sometimes around the ears as well gets kind of rosy, depending on the person and the skin tone. That kind of, rosy hue in the face really sells the idea of healthiness and a kind of robust, quality to the character, that they're healthy and vibrant and doing well. And on the other side of that, if you had a character who was maybe sick or wasn't doing as well health-wise, going into the blues and the green hues, even just a little bit with the skin tone instead of that rosy hue, is going to sell the idea of sickness or unhealth. So just knowing that about the kind of pallor or the tonality of the skin and what that tells us about the person that you're painting, that's just something to keep in mind. These are things that we as the audience, when we're looking at a painting, a drawing, photograph, that we kind of internalize that without maybe even knowing it. That if the character's got rosy cheeks, they're usually a healthy, younger person. Whereas if their skin has got maybe a paler color or kind of a bluish hint or even kind of greenish, well, maybe they're not feeling so good that day. Or maybe they're dealing with some sort of, zombie virus or something. Something is giving them some problems and they're not just having the greatest day. So keep that in mind when you're painting skin tones. And that's beyond just the natural range of skin tones that we have as human beings. Those get into like health and how well the person is doing and how well they're taking care of themselves. Something else to just pay attention to is where to draw the underline versus where to draw the hard black kind of outline. Well, the name outline gives you a good idea. I believe I use it mainly to give a hard edge to the outside of the shape that I'm working on. So in this case, it would be the head of this character. And then the eyelashes tend to be pretty dark as well. And I also like to use black to separate some of where the hair and the face meet. But then there are other places like the eyelid, not the eyelash, above the eyelash, the eyelid, the nose, the lips, and certain subtleties in the hair that I like to do with the underline. So that would be a slightly darker version of whatever the colors we're working on. If it's the skin tone, then it's a little bit darker brown. If it's the hair, then it's a darker magenta color or red color. And the reason that I do this is I believe there's a kind of inherent coldness or harshness to black ink line. And there's kind of a warmth and a subtlety to the underline. And there's certain places in the face that I think that's really good to have that kind of subtlety, like the mouth, like the other places that I've already listed off. It softens the image just slightly, and it makes it a little more human, in my opinion. Or if maybe you're not working on a human character, a little more relatable to us. there's certain animals in the animal kingdom that we really like and we relate to, and they tend to have kind of baby-like features like koala bears or quokkas or whatever, kind of fuzzy, cute little furry guys. We like those because they remind us of the things that we like in ourselves. But if you have an insect or something that has totally foreign features, it's a little harder to relate. But even then, some of those subtleties in the face can really help. Anyways, guys, this has been day 3 of our face-off, and I had a blast. It has been, as always, my honor, my pleasure to be here with you guys today. And we're getting through these. We'll get through all 30 days of faces, I swear, if it's the last thing I do. My name is Noah. This is the Big Bad Anime Channel. Why don't you go make some art today? It's a great day to make some art. And I'm really glad to be here, you guys. It's a real privilege to be able to pass on some of the things that I've learned in my career and just in my time as an artist. And I hope they help. If there's anything that you guys are working on that you need some guidance on, or maybe something you're looking to try to get better at, drop it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Peace.